Hey guys, how's it going? It's Krista here, and welcome to part 2 of Watercolor Heart Wreath. In part 1, we created our wreath heart. To create our wreath, we used Gina K's Wreath Builder Kit in the original size, as well as 2 hearts from Lawn Fawn's All My Heart stamp set, as well as antique linen distress oxide ink. Today we'll be finishing up our card. And the first step on the road to completion is to watercolor our heart. I'm starting off with some watercolors today, and first of all, I'll be using Magenta by Holbein, and I'm using a round brush just to color in a base coat into the larger hearts. To paint a base coat onto each of the hearts, I'm starting at the top of the heart with a medium consistency and pulling the paint down with a clean and damp brush to the tip. I want the paint to be the darkest at the top and lighten out as it reaches the bottom of the heart. As I pull the paint down, I'm trying to follow the contour of the heart as much as possible. If you find that you have a little bit too much paint on your heart, you can just use a tissue to pick it up and recolor your heart if necessary. As the paint dries, the color will lighten a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to be coming back and adding some shadows, and it'll darken the heart back up again. Moving on to the smaller hearts, I'm using Violet by Holbein, and again, I'm using a round brush with a medium to a thick consistency to place the paint at the top of the heart and then pull it down with a clean and damp brush. With a small liner brush, I'll pick up some violet in a medium to a thick consistency and add it to the top of the hearts on the outer ring of the wreath, the small hearts on the outside. And then with a clean and damp brush, I'll come in with a round brush and pull the paint to the bottom of the heart. My goal is to leave the top of the heart darker than the bottom. Then again, with a small liner brush, I'll pick up some magenta and add a line of magenta in a medium to a thick consistency to the larger hearts on the inner circle. As with everything when watercolor painting, you want to be sure to blend out your paint. So using a clean and damp round brush, I'll pull the paint to the bottom of the heart. I'm aiming to leave a defined darker line in the middle of the heart to give the heart some contour. In the blending process though, a lot of the time it does get blended out, so I'll just come back with the liner brush in a thick to medium consistency and add that line back in. When adding the line, I make sure to give the line a slight curve to make the heart look a little bit 3D. The line wouldn't come straight down, it would have a little bit of a curve. And the direction the line curves is completely up to you. I did make sure to go back and blend out the line that I added for contour and dimension with a clean and damp brush. And to add a little bit more definition to the smaller hearts on the outer ring, I came in with the same small liner brush and a medium to thick consistency of violet to add that line back in to the middle of the heart, making sure that it has that same curve to give those hearts a little bit of contour. And to make sure that there's a little bit of softness, I will come in with a clean and damp brush and blend that line out just a little bit. You might notice that I always use a spray bottle when I watercolor paint. I do this because I prefer to know that my water is always clean. I feel like I have more control over how much water is loaded on my brush. And to give my hearts a little bit of sparkle, I'm coming in with the Aqua Nuvo shimmer pen in glitter gloss for the hearts on the inside, the larger hearts. And I'm just giving that a light coating in glitter gloss. And for the outer hearts, I have a Aqua Nuvo shimmer pen in opal quartz, just to make it a little bit different and to give those hearts a little bit of shine. For the sentiment, I chose Congrats from Alta New Signature Words die set. I chose to die cut this sentiment twice from 110-pound white cardstock to give it some dimension. And for the final layer, I die cut Congrats from a bluey purple pastel cardstock that I have. I adhered all those together with liquid adhesive before attaching it to my card. I wanted to give my card front a little bit of a matte, but my square dies haven't yet arrived, so I'll just use a scoring board to cut down 1/8 of an inch on each side of my square card front and trim that down with a paper trimmer. I prefer to add my sentiment before I cut down my card front. I find it easier to visualize which sides have already been cut down. Now that 2 of the sides on the card front have been trimmed down, the card front will measure 3 inches 7/8. So the next score and cut that we'll make is at 3 3/4 inches on the remaining 2 sides. I chose a pastel pink metallic cardstock for the mat, and using my cutting board and a paper trimmer, I'm just going to trim that down to 4 inches by 4 inches. I'll adhere those together with liquid adhesive. In my stash of supplies, I have 4-inch square white envelopes. However, I don't have 4-inch square card bases, and that's okay. To make my own, I'm going to use a piece of 110-pound white cardstock. I'll start by first scoring 4 inches and trimming that down with my paper trimmer. I'll then rotate that 90 degrees and score at the 4-inch mark. This is going to be my fold line. And I'll also score at the 8-inch mark. I'm going to trim this off to give me the 4 by 4 inches. Once I've trimmed that down and folded it over, I'll adhere my card front to my card base with some liquid adhesive. That concludes the Watercolor Heart Wreath in the Wreath Builder series. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.